In a world where everyone is desperate to be heard, the man who controls his tongue commands a power few will ever comprehend. We live in a time where people believe that the loudest voice wins. They argue, they explain, they try to prove themselves. But the strongest men know that not every battle is fought with words. Silence is a weapon. It is not weakness but control. It is not submission but strategy. The ancient Stoics understood this truth. They knew that words can be wasted, but silence can never be taken back. When we stay silent, we force others to reveal themselves. When we resist the urge to react, we maintain our dignity. Have you ever won an argument but lost your peace? Have you ever fought back, only to realize silence would have been the greater victory? This is what the Stoics teach us. They remind us that self-mastery is the highest form of strength. The ability to hold our tongue when everything inside us wants to speak is the mark of wisdom. Epictetus once said, "If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, 'He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone.'" There is wisdom in restraint. There is strength in silence. What is done in the dark will always find its way to the light. Today we will uncover 6 defining moments in life where silence is not just the best response, but the ultimate weapon. 6 times when saying nothing will prove louder than any words spoken. If you have ever been betrayed, doubted, insulted, or tested, this message is for you. Let the world talk. Let the fools argue. We will remain silent, knowing that time and truth are always on our side. 1. When you are betrayed by those closest to you. Betrayal is one of the deepest wounds a man can suffer. It does not come from enemies. It comes from those we trusted, those we stood beside, those we believed would never turn against us. The pain cuts deeper because it is personal. It is a violation of faith, a reminder that even those closest to us are capable of deceit. The natural reaction to betrayal is anger. The need for revenge burns hot. Many men allow betrayal to consume them. They demand explanations. They seek justice. They want to make the betrayer suffer, but in doing so they destroy their own peace. The Stoics knew that betrayal carries its own punishment. The man who betrays others is already condemned by his own actions. Marcus Aurelius understood this when he said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." When someone betrays you, silence is the strongest response. Do not beg for answers. Do not waste words on anger. Do not lower yourself to their level. Walk away and let time reveal what they try to hide. A man who betrays his friends will betray others. A man who lies to you will lie again. A man who is disloyal will be disloyal to others. He will build his life on broken trust, and one day that foundation will crumble beneath him. Picture a man consumed by betrayal. He wastes his energy chasing justice, demanding answers that will never satisfy him. He argues, he fights, he lets his thoughts revolve around the one who wronged him. But in the end, he loses more than he gains. He loses himself. Now think of the man who is betrayed and stays silent. He does not waste time trying to explain his pain. He does not seek approval or demand closure. He focuses on himself. He moves forward. And in the end, he rises while the betrayer falls. History is filled with men who destroyed themselves trying to take revenge. They let their pain turn into obsession. They burned bridges, lost time, and exhausted themselves chasing something that could never heal them. Their revenge did not bring them peace. It only deepened their suffering. Compare that to the man who chooses silence. He does not fight battles that do not serve him. He does not waste time proving his worth to those who did not see it. He does not let his emotions dictate his actions. Instead, he uses betrayal as fuel. He builds his life, he strengthens his mind, he moves forward without looking back. And one day, the one who betrayed him stands in the ruins of his own choices, while he stands on the mountain of his success. Betrayal is painful, but it is also a gift. It reveals who truly belongs in your life. It clears the path for stronger relationships, for better opportunities, for a life built on trust rather than illusion. A weak man lets betrayal break him. A strong man uses it to become greater than before. The moment you stop fighting for people who do not value you, you free yourself to grow beyond them. When you are betrayed, say nothing. Do not explain. Do not argue. Do not try to fix what is already broken. Walk away and let karma do what it always does. 2. When someone questions your worth. There will always be people who doubt you. They will mock your dreams. They will try to define you with their small minds. Some will say you are not good enough. Others will tell you that your goals are impossible. They will try to place limits on what you can achieve because they cannot imagine it for themselves. Most men respond with words. They explain. They argue. They try to prove their value to people who never believed in them in the first place. But a wise man does not waste time convincing others of his worth. He understands that true worth is not spoken. It is demonstrated. Epictetus taught this lesson clearly. He said, "Do not explain your philosophy. Embody it." A man who knows his worth does not beg for approval. He does not waste time debating with those who cannot see his potential. He does not lower himself to meet their doubts. Instead, he lets his actions speak. Imagine two men. One spends his life defending himself. Every time someone questions his ability, he reacts. He tries to explain why he is capable. He seeks validation. He lets their doubt control his emotions. The other man stays silent. He does not argue. He does not explain. He simply works. He builds his skills. He proves his worth through discipline and action. He does not seek approval because he knows his value is not determined by the opinions of others. Which man do you want to be? History remembers those who let their success speak for them. Thomas Edison was mocked when he attempted to create the light bulb. They laughed at him. They doubted him. They told him he would fail. He did not waste time arguing. He kept working. When he finally succeeded, the world had no choice but to listen. The same is true for all great men. They do not waste energy defending themselves against small minds. They do not explain their vision to those who cannot see it. They move forward in silence, letting their work tell the story. Doubt is a part of life. People will always question what they do not understand. Let them. Their words are empty. Their opinions do not shape reality. They only reflect their own limitations. A weak man lets doubt stop him. He listens to the voices that say he is not enough. He spends his life trying to prove them wrong, not realizing that he is giving them control over his mind. A strong man uses doubt as fuel. He does not defend himself with words. He defends himself with results. Every moment he is underestimated is another reason to keep pushing forward. Every insult is a reminder that he is on the right path. True worth is not proven in a single moment. It is built over time. It is built in silence, through discipline, through persistence. The man who refuses to be distracted by doubt becomes unstoppable. Those who once questioned him will one day be forced to acknowledge his strength. A lion does not argue with sheep. It does not concern itself with their opinions. It does not seek validation through noise. It simply walks, fearless and unchallenged, because it knows exactly what it is. That is the mindset of the strong. They do not argue with those who do not believe in them. They do not waste words defending what is already known in their hearts. They know that the only way to answer doubt is through action. The next time someone questions your worth, do not respond. Do not explain. Do not seek their approval. Stay silent. Keep working. Keep building. One day your success will speak louder than their doubts ever could. Let them doubt you now. Let them talk. Let them underestimate you. Their words do not matter. Their opinions do not define you. Your silence will be your strength. Your work will be your voice. Your success will be your response. And when the time comes, the same people who doubted you will have no choice but to respect you. 3. When you are insulted in public. Public humiliation is one of the greatest tests of self-control. When someone insults you in front of others, your body will tense up. Your pride will scream for a response. Your ego will demand justice. The desire to strike back will feel overwhelming. But reacting in anger is exactly what they want. The moment you argue, the moment you try to defend yourself, you give them control over you. You show them that their words have power. A weak man reacts. A wise man endures. Seneca said, "A man is as miserable as he thinks he is." If an insult does not touch your mind, it holds no power over you. If you refuse to engage, the insult disappears into the air. Words only have weight if you choose to carry them. Imagine two men in the same situation. One is insulted in front of a crowd. He lashes out. He shouts. He fights to protect his pride. The more he argues, the weaker he looks. He lets his emotions control him, and the people watching see nothing but a man who has lost his self-control. The other man stands firm. He says nothing. He does not flinch. He looks his enemy in the eye, then walks away with complete composure. His silence makes him untouchable. He does not allow another man's weakness to dictate his behavior. Which man do you want to be? There is nothing more powerful than a man who cannot be shaken by words. He is immune to the opinions of fools. He understands that dignity is not defended through arguments. It is upheld through presence, through control, through restraint. Think of the greatest leaders in history. They were insulted. They were in mock, but they did not waste time responding. They did not fight small battles with small men. They stayed focused on their mission, and their silence spoke louder than any insult ever could. There is a reason why silence is feared. An insult demands a reaction. It seeks to pull you into conflict. When you refuse to engage, the one who insulted you is left powerless. They expected a fight, but they received nothing. They are left standing alone with their own bitterness. Marcus Aurelius said, "You always have the power of not having an opinion. You do not have to respond to every insult. You do not have to fight every battle. You do not have to explain yourself to those who do not deserve your words." A wise man chooses when to speak. He knows that his dignity is not threatened by the words of others. He knows that reacting in anger only gives his enemies more ammunition. He understands that true power lies in control. The next time someone insults you in public, remember this: you have two choices. You can react, argue, and let them drag you down to their level. Or you can stay silent. You can show them that their words mean nothing. You can walk away, leaving them to face their own weakness. Your silence is not submission. It is mastery. It is the ability to stand firm in the face of disrespect and remain completely unmoved. A fool seeks validation through conflict. A wise man finds strength in silence. The more you engage with insults, the more you teach people that you can be controlled. But when you refuse to react, when you show complete indifference, you become untouchable. A man who can endure insults without response is a man who owns himself. He does not let the opinions of others dictate his emotions. He does not give small men the satisfaction of his reaction. He remains above it all, untouchable, immovable, unshaken. The next time you are insulted in public, do not respond. Do not explain. Do not argue. Simply walk away and let your silence be your greatest answer. 4. When life breaks you down. Pain is unavoidable. Life will test you. It will strip away your comforts. It will take more than you ever thought you could bear. One day you will wake up and realize that everything you built is gone. You will face loss, failure, and heartbreak. Most men cry out when life knocks them down. They curse the heavens. They demand answers. They search for someone to blame. They want the world to hear their suffering. But Stoics understood something different. They knew that pain is not the enemy. The true enemy is how you respond to it. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Pain will come, but it is up to you whether it breaks you. A weak man sees suffering as a curse. A strong man sees it as a test. When life crushes you, silence is the greatest answer. Do not complain. Do not beg for sympathy. Do not let the world see you fall apart. Instead, endure. Hold your ground. Stand in the fire and let it forge you into something stronger. Think of the strongest men in history. They did not become great because life was easy. They became great because life was hard. Every hardship, every failure, every loss made them unbreakable. They suffered in silence. They let the pain shape them rather than destroy them. Now think of the weak man. The man who collapses under pressure. The man who complains, who blames others, who waits for someone to save him. He does not grow from suffering. He only becomes smaller, weaker, more bitter. Which man do you want to be? There was once a warrior who lost everything. His home was destroyed. His family was taken from him. He had nothing left. But instead of crying out in despair, he remained silent. He did not complain. He did not ask for pity. He simply rebuilt. Brick by brick, day by day, he restored everything he had lost. And in the end, he became greater than before. His suffering did not destroy him. It made him unstoppable. Compare that to the man who falls into despair. He lets his suffering consume him. He loses hope. He tells himself that life is unfair. He becomes trapped in his own misery, never realizing that he had the power to rise again. Marcus Aurelius also said, "If you are distressed by anything external, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment of it. And you have the power to revoke that judgment at any moment." Suffering does not define you. Your reaction to suffering defines you. Pain will pass. Hard times will fade. But the man you become because of them will remain. The world does not need to hear your pain. It does not need to hear your complaints. It does not need to see you suffer. What it needs to see is your strength, your endurance, your ability to stand when others fall. A man who suffers in silence is a man who understands true power. He does not waste time wishing things were different. He does not drown in self-pity. He does not allow hardship to break his spirit. He simply adapts, learns, and keeps moving forward. The next time life breaks you down, do not speak. Do not explain. Do not waste energy on complaints. Instead, rise. Endure. Hold your silence, and let your strength do the talking. Pain will come, but you have a choice. Will it destroy you, or will it make you unstoppable? Let the world see not your suffering, but your resilience. Let them wonder how you stayed strong when everything around you collapsed. Let them question how you kept going when others gave up. Your silence will be your answer. 5. When you are provoked by foolish people. Fools thrive on chaos. They seek attention. They bait others into pointless battles, hoping to drag them down into the mud. They insult, they provoke, they challenge, all in an attempt to control your emotions. A weak man takes the bait. He argues. He fights back. He lowers himself to the level of the fool. He wastes his energy proving something to someone who does not even understand what is being discussed. But the wise man does not engage. He does not fight battles that do not matter. He does not waste words on those who do not listen. He knows that responding to a fool only makes him part of the foolishness. Epictetus warned, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." A fool believes he is always right. He is not interested in truth. He is not seeking wisdom. He is only looking for a reaction. Engaging with him does not prove your intelligence. It only exposes your weakness. Imagine two men. One is walking down the street when a fool insults him. The fool calls him names, mocks his ideas, and tries to provoke him into a fight. The first man stops, turns around, and argues. He wastes his breath explaining himself to someone who is not listening. He leaves the argument frustrated, angry, and exhausted. The second man hears the insult but keeps walking. He does not stop. He does not turn around. He does not waste a second of his time on the fool. He remains calm, focused, and in control. Which man do you want to be? Fools are everywhere. They exist in your workplace, in your family, in society. They argue over meaningless things. They spread gossip. They try to prove their superiority through insults and conflict. The moment you respond, you give them what they want. You let them pull you into their world. You let them dictate your emotions. You let them control your actions. Marcus Aurelius said, "You always have the option of having no opinion." You do not have to respond to everything. You do not have to defend yourself against ignorance. You do not have to waste energy explaining yourself to someone who will never understand. Think of the greatest leaders in history. They did not waste time arguing with fools. They did not let distractions pull them away from their purpose. They stayed focused, letting their actions speak for them. A wise man knows when to speak and when to remain silent. He knows that some battles are not worth fighting. He understands that his energy is too valuable to be wasted on nonsense. The next time someone provokes you, remember this. You can argue, you can explain, you can try to prove yourself. Or you can stay silent, you can walk away. You can let the fool burn his energy while you remain untouchable. A fool may shout, but his words mean nothing. He may insult, but his insults hold no weight. He may provoke, but he only has power if you give it to him. Do not give him that power. Do not give him your time. Do not give him your words. Stay silent and let the fool talk to himself. 6. When they spread lies about you. Lies are the weapons of the weak. A man desperate to harm you will twist your name in the shadows. He will spread falsehoods, hoping that others will believe them. He will try to ruin your reputation with words that have no truth. Most men rush to defend themselves. They panic. They explain. They argue. They waste time trying to prove their innocence to people who may not even care about the truth. In doing so, they fall into the trap set for them. But a wise man understands a simple truth. Lies do not last. The truth does not need to be defended. Marcus Aurelius said, "If anyone can show me that what I think or do is not right, I will gladly change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed." When people lie about you, do not react. Do not explain. Do not chase rumors. Stay silent. Keep walking your path, knowing that time will reveal everything. I think of two men. One hears lies being spread about him. He runs from person to person, trying to explain himself. He wastes his breath trying to correct falsehoods. He becomes consumed with clearing his name, but in doing so, he lets the liar control him. The other man hears the same lies. He does nothing. He does not defend himself. He does not chase explanations. He continues his work, unmoved by the words of the weak. Over time, the truth rises. The liar is exposed, and the man who remains silent keeps his dignity. Which man do you want to be? Lies have no power over a man who does not acknowledge them. A lie only grows when it is given attention. The more you defend yourself, the more people believe there is something to defend. The more you explain, the more you look guilty. Let the liar talk. Let them spread their falsehoods. Let them exhaust themselves trying to destroy you. Meanwhile, you stay silent. You keep working. You let your actions speak. A weak man fights battles with his mouth. A strong man fights them with his results. History has proven this time and time again. The most powerful figures in history have been lied about. They have been attacked by words, accused of things they never did. But the ones who remained silent, who let time reveal the truth, are the ones who endured. Marcus Aurelius also said, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. The opinions of others do not define you. The lies of others do not shape your reality. If you know who you are, if you know the truth, you do not need to explain yourself." Think of the liar. He spreads falsehoods because he is weak. He has no real power, so he uses words as weapons. But the moment you refuse to acknowledge him, he loses his control. He becomes desperate. He exposes himself. The next time someone spreads lies about you, do not respond. Do not argue. Do not waste your breath explaining yourself to those who do not deserve the truth. Instead, stay silent. Keep working. Keep moving forward. Let the results of your life prove who you are. Truth needs no defense. It will always rise. And when it does, the liar will be left with nothing. Your silence will be your greatest victory. Conclusion. Silence is not weakness. It is control. In a world where everyone fights to be heard, where men argue to prove their worth, the strongest man is the one who chooses restraint. The Stoics understood this. They knew that not every battle must be fought with words. Some battles are won through endurance. Some victories come from saying nothing at all. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You always have the power of having no opinion." You do not need to respond to betrayal. You do not need to explain yourself to doubters. You do not need to defend yourself against lies. You do not need to lower yourself to the level of fools. The weak man reacts to everything. He argues. He fights to protect his pride. He wastes energy proving himself to people who do not matter. In the end, he loses his focus, his strength, and his peace. The strong man walks away. He keeps moving forward. He lets his actions speak. He understands that time and truth will reveal everything. You now know when silence is the greatest answer. When you are betrayed, stay silent. Let karma handle it. When your worth is questioned, stay silent. Let your success speak. When you are insulted, stay silent. Let your composure show your strength. When life breaks you, stay silent. Endure and let suffering make you unbreakable. When you are provoked by fools, stay silent. Let them expose their own ignorance. When they spread lies about you, stay silent. Let time reveal the truth. The world will challenge you. Do not react. Do not explain. Stand firm, move forward, and let your silence be your greatest power. If this resonates with you, subscribe to Stoic Story and master the art of silence.